Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another Webinar Wednesday. My name is Franklin, and I'm the Product App Specialist for KITS and your webinar host. So last week, we had our largest webinar registrations this year, so thank you to our KITS community for attending. I'm definitely excited and supercharged for today's exciting and new webinar. We're always looking to share what we do to make that big impression on the client. So Julia, what do we have for our community today?
All right, so today we're going to be going over some creative steps to make that dynamic sales presentation for your projects. So we'll be going over the following: reviewing required documents for your project presentation, which involves creating a template in Keynote and also grouping those renderings and the quick sheet into an album. We're also going to be covering creating the presentation, using the template to get started, also adding text and images. And lastly, sharing that presentation either by creating a PDF or a PowerPoint. So let's get started with the opportunity. So last week, Franklin showed you how to create that ultimate rendering to help you close your deals. Today, we'll show you how to put all those KITS documents, like renderings and quick sheets, into one complete dynamic sales presentation using apps like Keynote. So Keynote is available through the App Store, free for iOS 9 compatible iPads.
All right, thanks, Julia. There's a world of apps out there, as you know it, so find the one that works best for you. Now, we love using Keynote, so what I'll be doing today is using that app to create the presentation. So let's get on with the session today. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go through the steps we took prior to creating our presentation. Now, the first step I did was I gathered all the required documents and images to create my presentation. Now, what documents this includes and what images this includes are the manufacturer logos, if necessary, dealership logos, client logos, all those wonderful KITS renderings. And then what I did was I created an image capture of the quick sheets created in KITS. And what I did was I'm just going to quickly go into my photo album here. These are all the images that have been saved to my photo album. And what I did was I created a specific folder here to hold all my documents. So you can see I have all my wonderful renderings, and then I also have these image captures, which I used using the iPad image capture function to capture the actual quick sheet line item list. Okay, and if you need to know how to do that, what I can do is I can do a quick sample of how to do this a little bit later in the session. All right. Now the second thing that we did was created basically a standard presentation template in Keynote. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my Keynote to view what I have available to me. All right, so this is Keynote here. And if this is your first time using Keynote or the first time seeing Keynote, for all you iOS 9 users with compatible devices, you should be able to download this free from the App Store. All right, so I would recommend that you use a similar a tool such as Keynote. PowerPoint is also a good tool to use, and I believe it's also free for certain users. So just check back at your App Store and see what's available for you to use. Right? So basically what we need to do here is we need to create a standard template that we're going to use all the time for all the projects that we're going to go through. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tap on the plus sign to create presentation. And then what it's going to do is it's going to take me into this next screen here, which is basically showing me all the available presentation styles that I currently have for my Keynote. All right. So choose the one that you will most likely use for your presentations. It really doesn't matter which one. There's no right or wrong here. The idea is that you make sure that you create a nice, professional, and clean presentation. So what we actually chose was Blueprint. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on that. And once you choose the actual presentation style, you can see here that it now opens up the initial slide for you to begin your presentation. Now, before you actually put any information, the best thing to do is tap on the plus sign at the bottom left corner so you can view all the presentation slide styles for you to choose from. So here you can see that you can do title page slides, you can do title page slides with images, you can do text with just images, you can do just text slides, again, text slides with images, and then singular images to really help sell off that presentation of yours. So basically, it's, the idea here is to either use what's available pre-configured for you, or you can do what we did, and that was pre-configured our own slides to fit our own style. All right, so I'm just going to quickly take you into the presentation that was already created for this. Okay, so this is the project that we've been working on for the last couple of webinars. So if you had participated in those ones, you're pretty familiar with the layout that was created and all the features that we added. So the first thing you see here is my title page. At the top left corner, I have my client's logo, as well as I have a nice, beautiful image of the layout that was created, dead center or directly in the center of the presentation title page. And then I have our dealership logo, which is bottom right of that. Below the images, I also have the project name and some information regarding this project. Then we go into a little bit more detail of the project, which gets you into the project scope here. And you can see what I've done is I've listed the most major requirements that the client had asked us to meet. And basically, you can see how we developed this project based on this project scope. Next thing we decided to show here was also a floor plan in an isometric view of the actual project in kits. Okay, so at this moment, it's really up to you how you want to organize your presentation and what you feel is important for your client to see based on the presentation that you're giving them. All right, now we get into some singular images of the actual project. And then now you can see we're getting right into some really high definition renderings, really showcasing the power of kits, but really showcasing really the power of working with you, the salesperson, with creating these wonderful images for them to understand the project. Okay. And then next thing I did was I decided to take image captures of the quick sheet that I created in kits. And what I did was I actually emailed the PDF document to myself and created the image capture, which you see here. And again, I can go over how you do that a little bit later on as we're building the presentation. But this is basically the line item list view indicating all the parts that are that have been configured in the project, as well as all the pricing, which has also been configured for this project. Okay. And then, of course, you can see here we have some again useful information. We have the total configured price of the layout, which obviously is useful. And then what we did was we ended off the presentation with a contact sheet. So at this moment, it's really up to you what you feel is necessary for them to see. You know, you definitely want to leave them with a presentation that will blow them away, really showcasing your skills and why it's important that they work with you. Again, leaving them the information here, like your personal contact information or your professional contact information, and maybe a bottle of wine. That's what I would do. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at the pre-configured template that we created. So I'm just going back into Keynote. I'm just going to close this presentation here. And then now you can see I have my project presentation template. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on that. So again, you can see some elements of the pre-configured slides that we currently were looking at. And what I did was I just copy and pasted what I actually wanted to keep and what I actually wanted to use to create my own presentation style. Now, the big red descriptions on top of each image, obviously I just place that there for you to see. But what you can do here is basically create your project, and the template will pretty much make it easy for you to add images and to add text. All you have to really do is follow directions. So again, you can see here, this is the title page, and then we get into the project details, which was that project scope. We go into the floor plan and isometric that was created, and then we can start adding those wonderful images. You can see I only have one large image template, but what you can do is you can actually copy any slide that you've created and duplicate it. So you can use each slide that has already been pre-configured over and over and over again. And this is where I'm going to add that line item list view and pricing, and then finally my contact sheet. All right, so let's go ahead and start building this project. But before we do, what I always recommend that you do is go back, make sure you create a copy of your template because you don't want to erase your original or else you're going to have to recreate another template. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tap and hold. And you can see there's some familiarity between how you organize your projects here as well as how you organize your projects in kits. So again, you can see that we try to make sure that there is some type of synergy with the gestures that already exist with using some apps in the iPad as well as with kits. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on the plus sign with the pages on the top left corner, and that's going to create my project copy. And as you can see here, I have the project presentation standard template, and it actually says copy beside it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on the copy because that's the one that we're going to actually use today. All right. So best practice again is always tap on the title above in the navigation bar to create your project name. So here, what we're going to do is I'm going to type in X, Y, Z dimensions, and this is their presentation. And tap on Done. So there's my title. What I want to do now is I want to start going through each slide and adding the information, as you can see indicated on the slide. So I'm going to go ahead and add my client logo first. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tap on the client logo description, and I'm going to delete that because we don't need it. We know what we need to place there, so I'm going to go ahead and tap on the plus sign. And once you tap on that plus sign at the bottom right of the image, it automatically takes you into your photo albums. This is your iPad photo albums. So what you can do here is you can now search for that album that you created. And here you see project presentation. I'm going to tap on that. And you can see all the wonderful images I saved specifically for this presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and add my client logo, which is XYZ dimensions. And there you go. So just in case you need to resize or redimension any of your images, what you can do is you can actually double tap on the image, because what Keynote has done is they created the image as an alpha. Now, I'm not going to explain what an alpha is, but just understand that an alpha will allow you to change the overall dimensions of your images. And when I let go with this scaler, you can see how it's treated now in that image box that was created. Now, if I need to resize that image box, again, I can double tap, and I can pull one of the points. Those are those circles that are on the actual image box line, and I can create any size I want here. Okay, so it's pretty easy to resize any kind of dimensions. In case you made a mistake, you can tap on undo, which will take you right back to where you need to be. All right. So again, just for the webinar's sake, what I do suggest is that if you do have Keynote available or any kind of document producing tool, I would go ahead and play with it first to understand what the features are and how it's going to work for you, so that you get familiar with how to use the actual program. All right. So we're going to go ahead and delete dealer logo, and again, we're going to go find that folder. And I'm going to add our logo. All right. Now I'm just going to resize this so it fits properly. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and add that project image. And again, going back to my project folder, and we're going to add one of these wonderful images. Just going to resize this a little bit because I really want to give them an idea of the great work that we did for this project. Okay. And now I'm going to start arranging it on my title page here. Now you can see anytime you actually move your images or text, you can see these yellow guidelines appear. These will actually help you align and arrange your items on the slide by indicating where the middle of the slide is, how it aligns to the text below, so that you can actually make sure that you have a nice, clean, professional-looking presentation. And I'm going to take this, place it just down below. And so you can see here that I have my project image that's sort of on top of my client and dealership logo. And what I need to do is I need to put that behind those logos. So I'm going to tap on the project image. And then I'm going to tap on this painter's icon at the very top. This is your format button. I'm going to tap that format button. And you can see there's quite a few different features here and options for me to go through. Again, I suggest that you get familiar with what's in the actual format button and then play around with that. So here what I can do is I can arrange where this image fits on my slide. And what I need to do is I need to place this behind my dealership logo as well as my client logo. I'm going to take the slider here, which is going to allow me to place that image behind my dealership logo as well as my client logo. And if I go ahead and tap anywhere on the screen, you can now see how that's all working out. Okay, now I'm just going to slightly fix this. I just want to bring this a little bit further down. And now we're just going to really clean this up. Okay, great. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and add some of those project details like the project name. So I'm going to go ahead and double tap in the text area. And I'm going to add the project name, which is XYZ Office Expansion. And to accept the text, what I need to do is tap on the keyboard icon at the bottom right of your iPad keyboard to close that text box. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and double tap below, and I'm just going to add some useful information. And I'm just going to say this is the Executive Office Desking Standard. Again, the reason why I'm actually noting this as the Executive Office Desking Standard is because this is the standard template that's going to be used for all similar, all similar offices in this new expansion here. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the date, which is 07/20/16. And now I'm going to go ahead and add the client name, which we know is XYZ Dimensions. All right, great. So my title page is finally complete. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on the next slide to start adding my project details. So here I'm going to go ahead and delete the description. And then I'm going to double tap in the text box where it says details. So here I'm going to go ahead and add the project scope requirements, which the client had asked us to meet. Okay, so first thing I'm going to add here is that this project will be for a client-facing office. And the reason why this is important, because this should be an indicator as to the fit and finish of the actual office. And since we know it's going to be client-facing or maybe front of the office, we know that we need to make sure that there are some upgraded finishes for this particular project, which we have already included. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit return to create the next requirement, and that was desking for an executive office. And then we're going to go right into the required footprint, which was 15 feet by 15 feet, and that this office would be for client meetings, as well as an area, a casual area for team collaboration. And lastly, again, as I mentioned before, this office also needs upgraded finishes. So I'm going to tap on the keyboard icon to close again, to accept my text. There's my project scope. I'm pretty satisfied with that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue on with the next slide. So here you can see that we set up this slide to show any kind of floor plan that we created in Kits, as well as any isometric that is important for this project. So I'm going to go ahead, again, let's erase that description. Then we're going to go find our project folder. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a nice little floor plan view. Okay, so let's just increase the size a bit. And we're now going to center this in the image box. All right, great. I'm going to accept that. And now I'm going to go ahead and tap on the next image. And here what I want to show is one of those nice isometrics that I created of the actual project. Let's add this. And again, we can increase the size just a tad, and now also center that. Great. So that was fairly easy. That slide is complete. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and to the next slide. And this is where I'm going to add some of those wonderful renderings that we've been creating all week. Again, the idea here is that you have this standard template created so that, especially if you're actually sitting with your client and you need to put something up or you need to put something together quite quickly, you have the standard that you can follow. That's why it's so important to either use the pre-configured template that's available and those slides that are available, or create your own slides and use the components that are from the original presentation style. Because adding that plus sign at the bottom right corner to add your images is a surefire way to actually bring up those images quickly. All right. So here I'm going to go ahead and erase the description. I'm going to go ahead and tap on the plus sign. Let's go back to that folder. And I'm going to add the first rendering, which is going to be somewhat of a bird's eye view. Okay, I'm pretty satisfied with that, but I want to add a few more renderings. And you can see I've already used the pre-configured template that we created of the slide. And what I need to do now is I need to copy that slide. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tap and hold the project slide on the left side menu. And once I let go, you can see here it's now giving me the options of cut, copy, delete, skip, or transition. Here I'm going to go ahead and tap on copy. And then I'm going to go ahead and tap on the slide one more time. And I'm going to paste. And when I do that, what it does is it copies the new slide below the slide that you're just currently on. All right? I need to replace this image. So what I need to do now is I need to tap on the image. Then I need to go ahead and tap on the Format button, or the Painters tool again. And here you can see I have another option or tab indicating image. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on that. And then now what I'm going to do is tap on Replace. It takes me back into my albums. So I need to find that folder. And now I need to choose the next rendering that I want to use for this project. And there we go. Again, I'm satisfied with that. What I want to do is tap the current slide. I've already copied the slide before it, so all I need to do is tap on Paste again, and there you can see it adds that slide one more time. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on the image, and now I'm going to tap on the Painters icon, and we're going to replace that again. Great. So you can now see that I've added these wonderful images, and I do have a better image of this, so let's go ahead and tap on that image one more time. And add the better image. So now I have my 3 wonderful renderings that I want to show my client. I'm pretty satisfied with those renderings, and I know that they'll definitely be amazed when they actually go through this presentation and see all the renderings that we've created or perspectives that we've created for them. Again, the idea here is that you want to make sure that you make your communication, your sales pitch, or your sales communication to your client as clear and understandable, so they can truly envision what this layout is actually going to look like in their space. Okay, great. So now we're on to the next item, and this is where we're going to add that line item list view and the pricing. So as I mentioned before, what I did was I actually emailed the PDF document through Kits, the quick sheet through Kits, to myself, and I'm just going to quickly go to my mail. And you can see here's that project template. I'm going to tap on PDF, and you can see that here's the PDF that was created of the project. And if I scroll through, everyone will be familiar with what they see. And this is the project quick sheet with the configured pricing as well as the line item list indicating all the items in the project. So what we need to do here is we need to create an image capture. And if you're not familiar with how to do an image capture, let me show you. First thing you want to do is you want to go to the beginning of the line item list. And then you want to take your iPad and make sure that you're in portrait. Okay? The reason why you want to be in portrait is you want to make sure that you capture the entire page for your image capture. And as you can see here, I can see the entire page because I see the top of the page as well as the bottom of my page. I know that if I create an image capture at this point, I'm going to be able to capture all the lines or all the items in the line item list view. So Now that I'm in portrait mode, I'm going to go ahead and place my thumb, my left thumb, on my home button, and I'm going to place my right finger on the power button, and I'm going to press them both simultaneously, and you can see that flash. You're going to also hear the camera shutter. That's going to indicate that you've now created an image capture. All right, so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you capture all those images of the line item list view so that you can actually use for your project. All right, so let's go back into the actual Keynote. All right, I'm just going to go back into landscape mode. And so now I'm going to go ahead and erase the item description here. And I'm going to tap on the plus sign. And we're going to go ahead and go back into the actual project folder. And we're going to bring up the very first PDF that we need, or image capture that we need. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on it. And you can see here, here's the beginning of my line item list view. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fix how it actually fits in my image box. Again, by double tapping on the image. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale this image so that the gray background behind model, quantity, list pricing, and extended fits from left to right of my actual image box. Okay, so you can now see how that all fits in my image. I'm pretty satisfied with that, so I'm going to go ahead and tap on Done. The reason why I do that is it actually just leaves a nice clean view of your image capture. And now we have the 4 slides indicating the actual line item list of the actual project. All right, so now we're on to our last slide, and that's our contact sheet. So again, here I'm going to go ahead and start filling in the images. I'm just going to send this client with a lasting image of the project. Doesn't matter what it's going to be. I just want to make sure that I'm leaving them with as many visuals as possible. And of course, let's make sure that they know which dealership is the best one to work with. And now I'm going to add my contact details. All right, great. So again, it's up to you what you want to leave them on that contact sheet. It could really be an ending sheet that'll leave that lasting impression on your client. But again, the idea here is to understand what you'll need to be successful when you create this presentation, so that you can actually elevate your sales presentation and your sales message to your client. Great. So the last thing that we need to do now is print this document or share it with our client. Now we can do so by actually creating a PDF document and using some of the features by opening up this PDF document in iBooks, or by creating this PDF for an email. Now, of course, if you actually have an Air printer or a PDF document printer on your iPad, you can certainly use whatever's available to you, or you can use these easy methods, which are already here for you to use. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tap on the very first slide, and now I'm going to go ahead and tap on presentations, so it actually saves the presentation. And you can see here now that I do have my new presentation, and the date timestamp is for today. Okay, so now what we want to do is share the actual presentation. First thing we want to do is tap on the share icon at the top left of the actual navigation bar. And now what I'm going to do is I can either open this up in another app, which actually will lead you into, let's say, saving a PDF document in iBooks, or what you can do is you can send a copy. I'm going to tap on Send a Copy. I'm going to choose the presentation. I'm going to say we need to send this as a PDF, and there it's beginning to create the PDF document, and automatically it'll prompt up how I want to share this. I'm actually going to say mail, and now I can actually mail this document out to my client. So let's see, project layout created, and our presentation has been completed and shared with our client. And that's it, everyone. We've now shown you how to create a multi-page presentation for your project by using available apps such as Keynote for the iPad. Now, you can essentially create your presentations with your favorite app or any full version of any document producing program on the iPad or on your laptop or on your computer. So be creative, have fun, and good luck. Thanks again for attending today, and enjoy the rest of the day. See you next week.